One other thing that's really important to me in terms of how we think about the book and competencies is how we position young people. Our education system is founded on the idea that young people are citizens in waiting. We're preparing them for life in the future. But if you look at the sorts of things that young people can do in a school setting, they're actually citizens now. They're people who can take action to improve their world and make their school a better place. So for me, it's really important that we have that framing that young people are active citizens now. They're not being prepared for a world at some future date. And so what we do in the situations that we set up for them enable them to show and build those sorts of capabilities that enable them to make a difference to their world.
For me, I thought it was really important that we talked about systems thinking and why we value systems thinking, and particularly complex systems thinking, so much. I guess it's something I've been thinking about for a long time because my background is a biology teacher, and obviously that includes teaching about things like ecosystems. But how do you actually get kids to be systems thinkers? That's a much more difficult question to address than what a system is. And so when we were working on the book, that was something that we thought about a lot. This question of how you do some of these things that you say that you value. And I think that aspect of the book will be very useful for teachers, but I think it will be useful wider than that, because systems issues impact on everyone's lives, and this disposition to think about things in systems terms, I think, should just be central to how we think about so many complex issues in our lives. I value that really strongly and thought it was a very important aspect for us to address when we talked about the values that drove the way we wrote the book.
The people who learn the most from research are usually researchers, and it's often quite difficult as a researcher to think about how you can share and convey the depth and the richness of any research project to someone else who didn't do the work but wants to be able to access that learning and knowledge that's come out of it. And so I think I was really looking for how is this book going to do more than just sort of telling people interesting new ideas or the products of research around key competencies. What else can it do? And for me, the way that you can make a change in the world is by enabling people to find their own creative processes for exploring their own thinking or for looking at learning in their own context. So I guess for me it was really important that the book did that and gave people some inspiration and a frame of a process that they could use to do the kind of questioning and have the kind of interesting conversations that we as the authors of the book had in the process of putting it together. So it's sort of trying to work on those two levels. We're unfolding and being transparent about a process that we used and an intention that we had, and offering what came out of that for us in our thinking, but also offering that process as a way of working that we think other people could have to have rich conversations about key competencies and schooling in the future.
Well, the idea that most interested me when we first started writing the book is the idea of teaching for diversity. People often talk about how teachers need to make space for diversity or cater for diversity. But I'm interested in the idea that, I'm interested in exploring what it means to teach for diversity, and how we can draw on diversity in the classroom to help solve problems and build our collective understanding. And I'm interested in the key competencies or the capabilities that people need, teachers need and students need to be able to do that, to work with diverse ideas and diverse others to create something new.